Hello guys, today in class we talk about logical connectors sequence, okay? Every time that we need to separate clauses, okay, statements, phrases, okay, using a logical sequence, okay, we're going to use first and then, okay? Here it says, in order to describe a sequence of events, we can join two or more clauses with the connectors first and then. Or we also can use the ordinal numbers. Do you remember the ordinal numbers? First, second, third, fourth, etc. Okay? We can use these ordinal numbers as a logical connector. Okay? We can usually we can use finally to introduce the last element of the sequence. And finally, we all go to the party, for example. Okay? Let's see some examples. It says, first, they asked me about my qualifications. Then, they asked me about my previous experience. And finally, they offered me the job. Okay? Or, first, plug the air dryer. Second, attach the diffuser. Third, switch the dryer on. Or, for example, in a recipe, okay, first you need to have all the ingredients. Then you need to mix them. And finally, you have to put the you need to put all the ingredients on the oven, for example. Okay, so those are, we call it logical connectors of sequence. Okay, because they go in an order. You can't use first, you can't use second and then third and then first. No, always first, second, third, etc. It says we can express an expected change or contrast in the sequence by using at first and but then or but later. At first, the officer asked me some questions, but then something happened, etc., etc. Okay, so and we have more examples. At first, we refused to lend us the money. He refused to lend us the money, but then he changed his mind. At first, I really liked her, but later I discovered that she was terrible dishonest. Okay? So, first, primero, second, segundo, third, tercero, fourth, cuarto, etc. First es primero, pero también es el primero o lo primero. Okay? Then, luego. Later sería después. Okay? Finally, finalmente. Todo lo que termina en LY es finalmente, etc. Ahora, si vamos a usar at first, es al principio, al comienzo, primero que nada. Bueno, al decir first of all es primero que nada. At first es al principio, al comienzo, ¿ok? But then, pero luego los soldados llegaron. But then the soldiers came. O también podemos usar but later, pero después todo se vino abajo, etc. ¿Ok? Ahora, si vas a usar first of all, es primero que nada, primeramente, o sea, primero que nada. También se puede decir second of all, ¿sí? O sea, como en segundo lugar, ¿sí? Como decir así, ¿ok? And then we have more information. Well, I just put here a letter, okay? Because this is the best examples. This is the best example that you can see how to use the connectors, okay, the logical connectors, okay, because we have different kinds of connector, therefore, although, etc. We already saw them, okay, but this is logical in a sequence, okay. So it says, Dear Peter, how are you? I hope you are fine. It has been a long time since I last saw you. And that's why I decided to send this letter to you, so I can tell you about one of my trips to Europe. I traveled during December last year. First, I went to Paris, and let me tell you that I had lots of fun. Since some of my friends traveled with me, I had never been to Paris before. We stayed there for 3 weeks, but given the fact that we were too tired in the first day of our arrival, we just wanted to get some sleep. The next day, we decided to go up to the Eiffel Tower. The experience of seeing Paris from above was wonderful, so we decided to take a lot of pictures from there. Later, I had one of those tasty crepes you used to talk a lot about. And finally, we went back to the hotel we were staying at. During the first week, we visited the Louvre Museum and the Arc of Triumph. Then we took a boat to Sena Lake. We had special dinner paired with a glass of champagne. And lastly, we took a train to the south of France, which is actually very close to Spain. That week was horrible because I got ill, so I had to stay in bed for 5 days. My friends had a great time in that place, though they bought souvenirs and went places while I just watched the TV in the hotel's room or read some of the travel guides. I was fully recovered after that week, and I proposed to go to Barcelona and then to Madrid. Finally, my friends and I decided it was better to stay in Barcelona since there were a lot of interesting places to visit. I promise to see you in London on our next visit. Take care. I hope to hear from you soon. John. Okay? So, first, but, later, finally, before, then, and, because, and, or, after that, finally, all of that are connectors, okay? But for now, for this activity on this unit 4, we're going to use first, second, third, fourth, at first, but then, but later, okay, and also finally, okay, and later and then, okay. Then we have more exercises on the English discovery, okay, on this is lesson 4, okay, logical connector sequence. This is lesson 4, okay, and we have an example. It says, first, you can vacuum the living room. Second, you can wash the kitchen floor. Third, you can fold the laundry. And the other person says, hold on, first of all, I'm not your maid, I'm your roommate. Second of all, it wouldn't hurt you to do some work around here. After all, it is your apartment too. Sorry, you're right. So, if you do these exercises, you can practice the logical connectors, okay? For example, we saw this exercise in the morning. It says, do you know how this payphone works? Payphone, it means a public phone, okay? Like everybody uses a cell phone. Well, this is kind of new for some of you, but the payphone or the public phones still are useful in society, okay? Son cabinas telefónicas o teléfono público, okay? So it says, let's see at first, let's see finally, let's see but then, let's see first, or let's see then. Remember that finally always goes at the end, so we're not going to have problem with that, okay? Then goes in the middle, luego, después, okay? So let's put let's see, I'm sorry. Let's see, first pick up the receiver. Levanta la bocina. Then put in the money and finally dial the number. First, then, and finally. Primero, luego, finalmente. Okay. Let's see if it is correct. Excellent. Okay. So if you read the statement, if you read the information, you're going to know which answer is the correct one. Let me tell you that when you are working with first, finally, with second, with third, you need a comma, okay? After first, after finally, after second, you need a comma, okay? Let's do one more. Okay, it says here, just a second. Oops. The information is missing, disappeared. What happened to the exercise? Oops, it's not working. Okay, it says, your computer looks complicated. It really isn't. I'm sorry, yes, it really isn't. Turn it on, wait for the menu to come up. What is first? The menu, or we need to turn it on first? Well, of course, we need to turn it on. So first, turn it on. Primero enciéndela, préndela, okay? Then, wait for the menu to come up, right? Primero enciéndela, luego espera a que aparezca el menú, okay? So, please read every exercise on lesson 4. Please read it, okay? So you can do, so you can practice these logical connectors. That is a very easy topic, but it's important to understand which the connector goes first, and then the next one, etc. So please read every statement so you can practice this topic. And I'm going to ask you for next class, for next Friday, I'm going to ask you to read this letter, to read this letter, because I'm going to ask some questions, okay? Well, if you have any doubts, comments, please let me know. Thank you.